morning.
That is a non-coffee good morning right there.
Holy mother. It's like I haven't said a word all day. I guess I can't even say thank you for joining us here on the Odyssey Files. I guess my appreciation goes to tolerating. Don't know how that happened. Anyway, I'm your host. As you all know, I hope, Michael O'Neill. Coming back for the first time in many, many, many weeks is the person you probably all forgot existed, Mr. David Sawyering. Welcome back.
Evening. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning. Thank you. It's good to be back. I was on a little hiatus. My mom passed away, so I took some time, family time, and took some time off of work, and still processing it. But things are good. She's been around. She stopped by to visit a few times. So, which is good. It kind of just makes me feel good that I know that she's free and roaming around now, which is what I believe happens anyway. So this just kind of reiterates my beliefs, and it's interesting because, you and I have talked about this a lot. And then even going back to when I was talking to Doug about it is my ability to have these episodes where I smell something, right? That's very, very distinct, like my dad's cologne, when it's, from 30 years ago and in the middle of my house, and there's just no way that smell could be there. So twice I have smelled my mom, like the perfume that she would wear. There's just absolutely no reason for it to be there. So, and the first time she came in like a firestorm. The room dropped about 10 degrees, got goosebumps, and I'm like, oh, hi, Mom, and I didn't hear anything. There wasn't any disembodied voices or anything, but I felt her presence there right next to me. And then I distinctly smelled her in a positive way, obviously. And it was nice. I think it was her just stopping by to say, hey, I'm okay.
We've talked about that period in between when they leave their meat suit and
right.
when they finally cross over to make sure that they visit their loved ones and that they make sure that everybody's going to be okay before they move on. And and
hers was a very quick death too. And so, like we've talked about before, sometimes that the spirit can get confused as to what's really going on when they die in such a fashion where it's like a couple of seconds, and that's how she passed. So, and I told her, we had a conversation anyway, so I told her, I said everything was fine, and just in case you don't remember, this is what happened.
As an investigator, I've done that a few times where unfortunately you have to give the bad news of what is going on to a spirit who's in their death state, doesn't know what's going on. It's not easy doing it to a complete stranger. Right. So doing it to a loved one, I think would suck.
Yeah, which is why I've taken some time off the show, just because I needed to process it before I could come on and talk about it. I didn't want to be a blubbering fool, not be able to get my words out, and that's what would have happened.
No, I get it. While I was transferring all of the episodes over to our new network, all the old episodes, I came across the one where we did the show the night my grandmother passed.
I remember that.
And you obviously allowed me to say a few words, and it actually ended up being like a 15-minute segment. And I'm like, I should probably make sure that Dave knows he can say a few words, because I took more than a few. But
no, it's good. It's good. You know, they say time heals all wounds. I think that's a little bullshit, but you know, I'll roll with it for right now. Things get better every day, though. I mean, I think more positive things every day. So
I definitely think that time does not heal all wounds. Time makes it easier to live with them.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So, and anything that wounds us that deeply always leaves a scar.
Mm-hmm.
So you never fully heal.
No.
It's like getting stabbed with a sword of Mordor.
The permanent wound that never closes.
That's right. That wound will never heal, and you can still feel it.
Yeah, for me, like we talked about, for me, it's almost like a piece of me left with her. And I know that's kind of hard to describe, but it's like there's a void now, like an open spot, that I'm trying to figure out. And it's interesting because I think that for some reason that was my initial responses, and I don't know if it was for protection. I don't know if but it's the same concept as when I astral project. I have the bad habit of leaving little bits and pieces of myself around, and Peter would have to go collect them and then, scold me. And I think that when I had heard that she passed, I think I immediately released some of myself to act as a guiding light or protection or something like that. And that's what it feels like. And now after her visits, I feel like that is coming back. If that makes sense,
I as soon as you said that, I mean, my first reaction to that was make sure you watch what fills it.
Yeah.
You don't just open up the floodgates, be like, come on in.
No. Smarter than that.
I don't know. Sometimes.
Well, I have been a little reckless in the past. I will say that. Be the first one to admit it.
And I'll be the second one to second it.
Yeah.
So, we do have a special. I want to say it's both serious and fun at the same time. Our topic for tonight, and Dave and I will tell the story because I sent him the video of what brought this on. But we're going to talk about theories that people have thrown out into the ether and onto the internet and social media and YouTube and whatnot that are just absurd and crackpot stupid. And I don't know if people are taking these seriously or not. It's just I don't know. I don't even know how people come up with this stuff. I honestly don't. I don't know if they do it on purpose. Like they just sit down and write out the dumbest things possible, and then they decide to throw it out there and see what happens, or what. But we'll be talking about that, which I think should be fun. And I even have 2 theories of my own.
Sweet. And I have something I need to share, actually.
Oh, now?
Before we get into stories or topic.
Nice. Go.
So last night, it was about 11:30 p.m., right? I'm laying in bed, TV's on, still have my blinds open. And I look, and there's no air traffic around me. I mean, where I live, right? There's no planes coming out of St. Paul or Minneapolis. I'm not in a fly zone, right? So I'll just say that first. So there's no airplanes that ever come over my house, because I would see them on a regular basis, with the thousands of flights coming in a day to MSP, and I never see them.
The only thing, and I don't know what direct path it takes, but the only thing I think would ever fly over your plane wise, would be like a charter flight to Duluth.
Yeah, that's possible. Okay. So that said, I'm laying in bed and I notice out of nowhere, and literally I mean nowhere, out of the corner of my eye, I see this bright white light, looks like the North Star. And I'm like, huh, Well, that's kind of strange because, like I had looked out the window, whatever, 10 times, right? And I'm like, well, it's just a reflection of something. So I'm watching it and it's moving. And I'm like, okay. So now I'm interested. I slide to the edge of the bed. I look out the window. And of course, didn't think to grab my phone because that's just not how my brain works. But
apparently that's how nobody's brain works.
I watch it and it's big. It's getting big, and it's got a point to it. Okay. And I'm thinking, well, it's an airplane, but I'm thinking, geez, that's an awfully big airplane. And so I thought, well, I'll be able to hear it. So I slide my window open. Dead silence. Can't hear nothing. And it's flying, right? And it's coming over the top. And as I look at it, I actually had to grab I rolled back over to my nightstand, grabbed my glasses, put them on, and came back to take a better look at it. And I'm watching it, and it's shaped like a pyramid, like a triangle. And it's got 5 red lights that are rotating, blinking on it. And I'm like, so I start logically trying to figure it out. I'm like, well, an airplane has, I think, I'm not an expert here, but I think an airplane has 2. I think it has a red light and a green light, or 2 red lights and a green light, or something like that.
On each wing, and I think underneath.
Right. So you'd have maybe 3 red lights. Right.
Something like that, but they don't rotate.
But they don't rotate, right? And this is literally they're flat. They're turning off, moving a spot, turning on, turning off, moving a spot, turning on, right? And they're going around in a circle. So I'm listening. I'm listening. I'm trying to hear some noise. I'm thinking, well, that's a funky looking helicopter. Because there have been a few times, like when a helicopter, like a life-saving copter, has come over my house and like going up to Duluth or an accident or something like that. But they're loud. You can hear the propellers. So this thing is dead silent. I watch it, goes completely over the thing, and is heading towards what would be I don't know, the middle of Wisconsin. And then it's just was gone. No noise, 5 rotating red lights, looked like a triangle. And initially caught my eye because it was so bright white out of nowhere. Like it popped into our space. It would be the best way I could describe it. So I thought it was interesting. No idea what it was. But it was cool to see. And I wish I would have grabbed my damn phone because I would have shared it with you last night. But it's I have no answer for it. It actually, I literally sat there in bed for probably a half hour thinking about what it could have been. Like that's how it hit me. Like it wasn't like, oh yeah, it was a plane, it was a helicopter, it was, whatever. I'm like, well, it was big. I mean, it was big. If it was a plane, it would have made it. If it was that big, that if it was a plane being that low, I would have heard something. You would think.
I would hope, because those type of jet engines are quite loud.
Well, you'd think so. I'm going to take a look and see. I didn't even think to do that.
Oh, see if anybody else filed claim or whatever.
Yeah. I was thinking about that last night.
Call it in. I never get to see.
Forest Lake woman and her husband described strange objects.
Is that from this morning?
National UFO Reporting Center.
That's right, people. You're listening to live research.
Exactly what's happening. No, I don't know. Anyway, I'll kind of stay on top of it. Whatever it was not what you would usually see in the sky. I'm not saying it was an alien craft. I would say It was unidentified as far as I'm concerned because I did not recognize what it was.
It is,
and then I thought maybe it's a drone, right? That's what I thought. Well, maybe it's a drone. You know, they were talking about them drones over New Jersey and how they had those rotating lights on them and how some were as big as an SUV. But then I'm thinking this thing was up in the sky and it was huge. So you know, if it was a drone, it would be like the size of a, you know, naval destroyer, not a SUV. So that doesn't make any sense, I guess, either logically. But
nice. You always get the good sightings.
yeah, it was. I just thought I'd mention it since, you know, this is kind of like what we talk about every day. So it was interesting though. I wish I would, you know, whatever. I wish I would have grabbed my phone and filmed it, but then I just would have had one of those videos that everybody was like, it's just an airplane. It's a bird. You know?
I haven't seen that one where they mistake a UFO for a bird, but
no, I haven't either. But
I get it. I get it.
Yeah, so it was cool. It was a cool personal experience. That's the way I'll leave it. So
fair enough. And speaking of personal experiences, the Odyssey Files is proud to present the Mailbag. I do enjoy that so very much. Okay. We're not going to get through all of them, that's for sure.
No, it's okay.
Yes, I was going to say that's fine.
So yeah, we just got some leftovers for next week.
All right, here we go. I'm going to read this one. I don't like the first one, so we'll skip that one. All right. Do you think I brought something home with me?
Oh yeah.
For clarification, I work in a prison, and I've seen some freaky things there, and I've heard stuff too. But those stories are for another time. A while back, I did a pack out on a guy's property because he got rolled. And during the inventory, I found all sorts of satanic items. He had a homemade Ouija board and homemade spell books and a Necronomicon and makeshift wands. One was made of bone he gathered from, I'm assuming, a dead cat and a rat. He also had a burnt up crucifix. If you're unfamiliar with how some prisons work, in most places, you can't have satanic items, even if they're homemade. It's considered hobby craft, but it's contraband. Okay. Anyway, I was told to throw it all away because he couldn't have it. And my stupid self thought it'd be funny to bring it home and scare my then pregnant girlfriend.
Yeah, that's funny.
But I did get curious and read through some of the homemade books, and they honestly gave me the creeps. I did end up actually throwing the stuff away after a few days, but ever since then, I've been having these weird feelings that I'm being followed or watched. I keep seeing things out of the corner of my eye and hearing strange noises. I've lived in haunted houses before, and I know this is different. This is a different feeling. It's much darker. I'm just worried now that I have a newborn here. Nothing has happened so far, so I'm just looking for some advice and your opinion on the matter. Well, my first opinion is I'm sorry that you're stupid. Like, seriously, one, you're obviously a terrible boyfriend. And the only way you're going to keep this girl is because you have a child together now. I mean, oh yeah, I think it's going to be funny. Let me steal stuff from a prison from a guy who got rolled. I don't know what that really means. Arrested? I think that is that arrested? Okay.
Street slang for
street slang.
Yeah, street slang for getting rolled, I think, would be he got rolled in prison, meaning that he got attacked and killed in prison. That's and basically, so they're just getting rid of his shit.
Right. So this was what he brought into the prison.
Yeah, this is what he created while he was there, it sounds like.
Oh, gotcha. And he hit it all.
Right.
Okay. Yep. Gotcha. Okay. Apparently he was probably trying to make a deal with the devil to get him out of prison.
or make a deal with the devil, right? Exactly, to give him some control, over a situation or something like that. Yeah,
Yep.
for sure.
So for one, it's absolutely stupid. Look at that theme of the show. That you would think that it would be funny to scare your pregnant girlfriend with satanic items, but apparently you didn't even do that because you started to read them, which is stupid. Uh, and then I'm going to put this in quotes, quote unquote, experiencing stuff, because I don't think you're experiencing anything at all. I think you freaked yourself out. You even admitted it, and now you're psyching yourself out. Every little bit and thing that could make you think that you're, being followed or that you're being watched or whatever is freaking you out. I think you're doing this all to yourself. And that's why nothing is happening with your newborn or anything. Everything is happening to you because, like I said, I think you're doing it to yourself. So my advice is to stop being an idiot. Be a better girl. Be a better, like, not husband, boyfriend to your girlfriend, father to your baby, and stop taking dead prisoners' stuff home with you. That's my advice.
I think that because of the probably homemade nature of the satanic stuff, the guy had absolutely no idea, the creator of the content had absolutely no idea what they were doing and was just reaching for straws. And if that's the case, then I think that all of the stuff that was there potentially could be fully charged with negative energy. And since this guy's dead, that's what I'm going to assume the rolled means. So since this person who created this stuff is dead and these items are charged, the next person who puts any amount of energy into them, I think picking them up, throwing them away, and just disregarding them and not thinking about them, I don't think that would have anything to do with anything, right? I just wouldn't, it wouldn't make any difference. You're just cleaning something up. But the fact that you took it home, you read through it, and then you were sharing it, which means you're giving it life, you're giving it your intent, you're focusing on it, your energy is going into it. I think that it's very possible that you had a temporary attachment. As far as what you should do, that's a good question. I don't know, because I don't know the parameters of how this thing was created or what it was that possibly could have been attached to this stuff. But if you're religious, I would go to church and I would go to confession and ask for forgiveness for the stupid act. And then, maybe have your house blessed as just a safety precaution. And I always say that as it's a peace of mind type of thing. So like if because of my faith, if I felt something was off, I would have my house blessed. It would make me feel better. Even if it didn't accomplish anything, it would make me feel better, therefore giving me the power back. And now I'm not scared anymore. So depending on what your beliefs are, what your stuff is, find something, man. Because that was a stupid move. I'm just saying. And usually I don't try to be
He leaves that to me.
quite as harsh as Mike. Usually I leave that to Mike, but that was a pretty stupid thing to do, especially with a pregnant girlfriend. I mean, why would you want to scare your pregnant girlfriend with demonic ritual shit? I just don't get that. What if it freaked her out and she lost the baby?
Stressed her out.
Yeah. Right. Or what if something what if something saw the fetus and was like, there's my perfect vessel. And now it's sitting in her womb. the next movie waiting to happen. But okay, but that's all I got for that. I could go on for hours talking about that, but I'm not going to. All right. So 3 of my family members saw the same weird white light above their head. So this happened to members of my family, my father, my uncle, and my aunt. We were at a family gathering in my small town when my uncle brought up the story while talking about my father, who is no longer with us. He said that many years ago, he and my father were walking home through the fields late at night. It was dark, and suddenly a very bright white light flashed right above him. It lasted for a few seconds. It was like daytime. The whole area lit up. A couple seconds after it appeared, the light was just gone. My uncle at the time was scared, but my father, who was much more braver than him, just told him, "It's fine. Let's just go home." And they continued on their way. Well, my aunt heard the story as we were discussing it, and she spoke up and said the same thing happened to her. One night, she stepped outside the house to get something, and out of nowhere, a bright white light flashed above her head, illuminated the whole entire area. She got what she wanted, and as she was walking back in the house, it disappeared. It all happened in our small town, and none of them have ever figured out what it was. It's just one of those things that stays a mystery. What I want to know is, how can the exact same thing happen to both of them? It's a good question. I'm going 50-50 here, but I'm going to go with, your uncle and your dad. You said it many years ago, so I'm assuming they were younger. It was late. It was dark in the fields. Maybe there was something around that was going to harm them, and a guardian angel lit up the light to scare away whatever was potentially there. And not anything like a demon or anything like that. I'm just talking about like a bear or something, whatever, a cougar, mountain lion, something that would have harmed them. And then as far as, and maybe it was a guardian angel that did it just to save them or protect them. And then for your aunt having the same kind of thing happen to her, I don't know. Unless she was in harm's way as well. And maybe you guys just have a really, really good protective spirit that watches over the family that has some abilities. Like it has a giant flashlight. I don't know. My other side of my brain is going to UFO. With some sort of flash of light, like gets reported all the time. But that, if there's nothing else that would go, there would be something else to go with that, I would think, and it doesn't say anything about it. So the only logical thing that happens in my brain is when I think of this is that it's just one of your protective spirits watching out for you, and a couple of different instances where family members potentially could have got hurt by something, and it lit the light up to scare away the intruder.
I don't exactly know what this could be. I mean, I am leaning towards guardian, a spirit that's trying to show them love and light for some reason. I get I don't know if it's so much like an intruder or something like that, but what were they doing? I know they said they were walking in from the field or whatever, but like, what were they doing out in the field, or what
Right.
was the ant going out to do?
Right.
Both instances happened outdoors. The person left the house, the other one was walking in from the field. So I mean, it's something that is trying to make itself known for whatever reason. And I don't know why. I don't know if it is to dissuade them from doing something, because if I remember correctly in your story, the aunt said she just went right back in the house.
Yeah, that's what it said. Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, or if it's trying to, I don't know. I'm not even going to try to assume, because I definitely think that it's some sort of spirit or guardian trying to make itself known, but I have no idea what the motivation behind it is. I would need more context. Like I said, what were they doing on the field? What was she going out to do?
Right.
Was there, as you said, was there a danger that it was trying to, like, maybe one of the stairs, the aunt was bad, and if she stepped on it, she'd fall and break something or something like that. Maybe there was a big hole in the ground or a bear trap or something. I don't know. It could be all sorts of things, but without what
that just reminds me of when we were with Brian and he shared the video of him walking down the stairs. I think when they were investigating the place in Tennessee, and he took the staircase out of the old out of the old house, out of the old slave quarters, when Brian and Rochelle were up at whatchamacallit with us. And when you were talking about like there being something wrong with the staircase, that's all I thought it was Brian taking that huge digger as he took a spill and wiped out the historic staircase on the back of the slave quarters. And then he just laid there and went, like 5 minutes.
And of course, Rochelle's like on her ass, laughing so hard.
She was
just be like, "Are you okay?"
It was funny. I'm sorry. That just made me think of that though when you were talking about that. Oh, that was funny.
I do. I was confused there for a second because I thought you were talking about the old investigator friend Brian.
No,
not Brian Murray.
Right.
It took me until you said Rochelle that you were talking about that Brian.
Yeah, Brian. Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's all I got. Like that's a tough one because there's so many different things that it could be for why.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting though, right? A light source showing up like that and then disappearing. I think that's kind of cool.
I think it's fairly common about the light source, but what intrigues me is the fact that it lit up everything around them.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like a mobile nightlight, spirit nightlight.
Well, I mean, if it lit up the field, that's a pretty big light.
Well, everything around them, yeah.
Yeah. So,
yeah, I don't know what that would be. But all right. Has anyone ever been sucked into a ghost memory? I was making Christmas cookies late one night, and I, of course, was in the kitchen. Things started to get fuzzy, and suddenly the kitchen was different. There was no back door anymore. There was a kitchen nook, and there was a mural on the wall I had never seen before. A mom and her sons were eating breakfast. They were all talking amongst themselves, and I was asking who they were and where was I. They ignored me and kept talking to each other, and then I yelled. Still didn't react to me. I realized they couldn't hear me and calmed down. Then suddenly I was back in the modern-day kitchen. Called the landlord and told him. He said, "Aw, Mom wanted you to see how happy our little family was." I am interested if you guys had a similar experience or know of anybody who has had a similar experience, or what this memory sharing would be called. A psychic medium friend said she had a succubus do something similar to her to keep her away from her husband, but she didn't really have a term for it. There was a lot of paranormal events at that house, and that was one of the bigger events. I'm wondering what a succubus would have done to keep another woman away from her husband.
Yeah, I find that to be interesting too. As soon as you said that, I was like, what? I think she probably meant incubus.
Yeah,
doesn't know what she's doing. So,
well, I mean, I think succubuses are far more, I guess, forgive the term, popular than an incubus. Like everybody just calls the sex demon a succubus, and that's it. Like a lot of people don't even know what an incubus is.
Right.
You know, they probably think it's something for, you know, warming, you know, women's eggs or something like that.
Right.
You know, like incubator.
Right.
Okay. You didn't laugh, so I thought maybe you didn't understand it.
No, no, I'm sorry. Yes.
Because it was funny. Anyway, I could tell by the mild smirk on your face. But anyway, going back to the actual event, um, you know, the term that we always use is like memory transference,
Mhm.
emotional transference, energy transference. Um, if it gets like more than that, you know, you could call it being jumped. I don't think that's what happened here, but I'm just saying, you know, on the levels of what can happen when a spirit, uh, this is this is a harsher term that needs to be said, but manipulates you in such a fashion. This, I think, was completely benevolent. I don't. I think your landlord is probably correct. Um, I think two reasons why this happened come to mind. Either A, you were cooking, you're in the kitchen, uh, and you got overtaken by a residual memory. Um, and so it wasn't intentionally done. It just happened to be in the right place, the exact right time, doing the exact right thing. Where you got it. The other thing is, as he said, his mother's spirit is there. She sees you cooking Christmas cookies. She's sharing that moment with you. Maybe she wanted to share a moment of hers, a memory of hers. Um, I would take that as a very good sign that maybe she really likes you. Uh, and she also maybe wants to make her presence known in such a way that you both kind of feel a kindrence with each other, like you're both doing this thing to make your family or your friends or whatever happy. um I pretty much want to go with the second one, mostly because you said there were a lot of paranormal events. The landlord didn't seem surprised
Mhm.
that this had happened.
That's what
uh
got me. Yeah.
yeah, so I think the landlord is well aware that his mother's spirit is probably still living in the house, but because she doesn't bother anybody, you know, who's really to say otherwise? Um, and it doesn't seem like you said there were a lot of paranormal events at the house. Like none of this seems to make you feel uneasy. Uh, so I definitely think that at least his mother is probably still living in the house with you, just right alongside you. Probably has been since the day you moved in. Um, so honestly, I wouldn't worry about it. It's an amazing experience. Um, a time slip, because you said that maybe this was like a time. I don't think this is a time slip. Um, where does it say that?
Maybe you maybe you threw it in there. I don't know. I don't have that story or that question.
No, damn it! It was.
Did you
Oh,
are you adding to it?
yeah, I'm kind of adding to it. Anyway, um, yeah. So anyway, um, I said I don't think that this is a time slip, but I think it's just a shared memory that the spirit wanted to have with you.
I agree. I don't really have anything to add to that because I think it's a really cool experience. I totally agree that with the landlord not freaking out about it, like it's not the first time it's happened. Um, and it was a positive experience. So I get it. Like we've talked about this 100 times or 100,000 times. When something that is abnormal, paranormal, right, happens to you and it catches you off guard, even if it's a positive experience, it's still a little freaky. Totally understand that.
Mhm.
Um, but I totally agree with Mike. There's nothing to be concerned about here. I think that was I think that was an act of love, of inviting you into their moment type of thing. I don't see anything to be worried about at all. And I wouldn't even reclaim my space in that situation. I mean, I would just be like, hey, that's cool. And if you thought it was cool after in hindsight and you wanted to experience other things, you certainly could start having a conversation. And I'm sure that if her spirit is there and active, which it sounds like it probably is, that she would interact with you. Just keep it, don't go in with the shotgun approach for communicating with the dead. That's where you get yourself in trouble. Stay focused.
So just really quick before we move on to the next story, handyman extraordinaire, Mr. Jason would like me or us to explain time slip.
Time slip. Okay. So it's talked about a lot in UFOs. So where I'll give you an example. We were at a convention and two of the girls that were there that we met, that we were talking to, said that they were in a Taco Bell parking lot. They had just gone through the drive-through. They parked and they were going to eat in the parking lot. And like 12 minutes went by and they kind of woke back up and they were still holding their food. So that's one type of time slip. So something supposedly happened to them there where they thought it was a UFO, like they got abducted and then they came back down or whatever, but I don't know. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, isn't that just missing time? I never considered that to be a time slip.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of do. I mean, because how do you explain missing time? Right? It's a slip in time. The other time slip would be where you've got two realms that come together close enough somehow where you actually are interacting with two different times. That's what I would say. What do you think a time slip is?
No. I agree with you on that one. The reason why I was shaking my head is Jason said it's basically the Mandela effect. It is not the Mandela effect.
No, it's not the Mandela effect.
The Mandela effect is where you actually believe something happened when
like the Bernstein Bears. There's the perfect example of the Mandela effect. Is it the Bernstein Bears or the Bernstein Bears?
I don't know, but yeah, there's a ton of those. In fact, I still have to confirm this, but I think I had one myself.
We actually did a show on those. We actually did a show on the Mandela effect. So
yeah, but because it's one of the missing episodes, we have to do it. We have to do it again.
Oh, sweet! And we get to do it again. That's fun.
And update it.
Yeah,
because like I said, I think I have been a victim of a Mandela effect, but I have to confirm it and just haven't yet. I'll tell you that story because it's pretty. Cena laughed her ass off at me when I told her about it. But anyway, back to the time slip.
Yeah, so that's what a time slip is to me. I mean, so lost time. You're right. Like a UFO, that's probably more lost time. Time slip would be when two different time frames come together and overlap each other and allow each side to see into the other side, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. See, I think just as much as we're haunted, I think just as much as people that have an experience where, and I'm going to use Steve again on this. So we're sitting at the hotel, right? Steve's sitting in the chair, really quiet, just observing what's going on. The hotel is active as hell. It's always been active. Tons and tons of different spirits there. The face comes through the bookcase, like somebody's walking through the bookcase in what used to be a door or something back in another time, and turns and looks and sees him, and he sees it, and they both freak out. Well, that to me, that's a time slip, right? Because that spirit's walking into what is their time, and now all of a sudden they see Steve sitting there, and Steve shouldn't be sitting there. And at the same time, Steve sees this thing walk out of the bookcase and look at him, and in our time frames, that shouldn't be there. So I think we haunt each other. I'm a proponent of that. I think that people get freaked out by that. I think that it's not them haunting us; it's a mutual thing. I think that we're freaking them out too. It's like the one I know we talked about this story on the show, where they went to the old schoolhouse, and it was like the classroom from like the early 1900s with the teacher, and then the teacher saw the person looking through the window and got the kids together because she was like, who the hell is that? Thinking that it was some danger and that the kids were in danger. So that is a perfect example of two time frames coming together, where this person saw back in the early 1900s, but then the early 1900s saw into the 2020s somehow, and thought that this person was potentially, like, because they were dressed differently and looked differently, was scared. That's another good example. All right, are we done with time slips?
I think we're done with time slips.
I've got this story is exactly what I have said for a million years. But I'm going to preface that. Okay.
That I'm about to be right.
My friend came up with an idea that we should go ghost hunting in the graveyard during midday on a busy Sunday. I found the idea totally useless, but agreed to it anyway. This particular graveyard was near a forest, so deep down, I guess I was happy to know that she came up with this idea that we go during the daytime. We walked, and we arrived at the graveyard. Took us about 20 minutes, and noticed that it was oddly empty, given how graveyards during Sundays are always kind of full. But we ignored it, not instantly thinking about how this is all about ghosts. We found an empty dugout place for a new casket, which we found a little bit disturbing and sad. We looked around at the different graves and the names of the deceased, and stupidly, we began making fun of the people's names. I was the first to start, to which my friend then followed. After a while of making fun of the dead, we heard loud and clear as day my name being called from somewhere deep within the graveyard. We looked all around, and no one else was there besides us. We stopped laughing and making noise, and we looked from where the sound was coming from. We started to feel uneasy, so we slowly began walking away. But as we turned, my name again was called out, but this time it sounded as it was coming from everywhere. The noise was unbelievably static-like, and we freaked out and ran. We ignored the incident for the remainder of the day, and I walked my friend home. She lives in a house that was about 10 minutes away. And so I walked her home and went back to my own place. After we said goodbye for the day, I was walking back to my house, and when I arrived, I saw that she had called me 10 or so times, telling me that what I was doing wasn't very funny. I was confused and told her I'm not doing anything, to which she called me absolutely furious, crying and yelling at me that she's not my friend anymore. I got angry and started yelling back, asking her what this was all about. She then called me on camera phone and showed me a direct copy of me standing at her door. I was left completely speechless. It had my voice, it had my look, everything about it was exactly like me. When she saw the fact that I truly was at home, we hung up, and she called her parents and ran out of the room. From that day on, I have odd things happening to me. I keep seeing shadow figures. Sometimes when I'm out on my own and returning home, I see figures that are fully white and slightly translucent. I keep hearing knocking on my windows. I live on the 4th floor, and there are no tall trees anywhere near my window to bang on. What I want to know from you guys is what's happening and what could it have been? Oh my God. Oh my God. How many times have I said this in my life? Okay.
I'm sensing a theme with some of these stories.
So, I've said this a million times, right? Be careful what you wish for. Why would you go to a cemetery and start making fun of people that have died? Again, I just don't get it. You know, and I know people are going to say, right, it's their final resting place. It's just a bag of bones, and they're not there anymore. That is total bullshit. Cemeteries are one of the most haunted and using the term haunted here as far as active, cemeteries are one of the most active places I've ever been, and consistently. And the one that I introduced Mike to years and years and years ago has always, every time you go there, has always had activity, and the spirits there are accommodating. That I have been there so frequently that my name gets called when I show up. I have conversations. We had a conversation with a pilot that flew a B-52 bomber, lasted for 10 minutes. Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable. So when you go to some place like that and you act like an ass, why are you then confused as to why you're getting messed with? I don't understand that. You're getting messed with because you went and messed with them. It'd be the same thing as you picking a fight with a bully, another human being. Hey, it's not Christmas time anymore. Mute the phone. So it would be the same thing as you picking a fight with a bully, right? And then wondering why that bully, or maybe not a bully, but another person, and then wondering why that person is waiting for you on your walk home from school someday, waiting at the street corner for you to show up. You know, because you did something that made somebody mad, and now they're going to give you a payback. And that's exactly what's happening here. You went to a cemetery, you disrespected the dead are upset that you acted like a fool, and now they're giving you some payback, a taste of what your life could be if they choose to make your life miserable. And I'll leave it there, because I'm sure Mike has something to say about it, and I don't want to waste all our time. Anyway, dumb move.
Absolutely. I mean, 100% just stupid move. Like, I understand if maybe you mispronounce a name and like maybe you laugh at yourself. You're like, oh, that's really hard to pronounce. Then you move. Like, that's not really making fun of them.
No,
but it's
not
still, but yeah, if there is anything that I have come to realize about cemeteries, it's that the spirits there are very protective of the other spirits there and of that property, as they should be.
Mm-hmm.
I also want to, before I move on, I also want to say that you're using the term graveyard wrong in your story, because you always said graveyard.
Right.
A graveyard is when, you know, the graveyard is attached to a church.
Right.
If it is just out in the middle of nowhere, if it's by itself, that's a cemetery. So when you're talking about how it's connected to a forest and blah blah blah, it's a cemetery. So, but that's just nuance. Anyway, back to the issue at hand. I can't tell you how many times Dave and I have talked about, when you mess with them, they're going to mess with you. And I don't say mess with as in like trying to talk to them. I mean, like when you're trying to provoke them, and when you're making fun of them, and when you're acting basically the exact way you did. Mm-hmm. I'm wondering, because that would take a lot. Like you made mad a very, very like powerful.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you can actually mimic, you know, his body, his voice, and knock on the door and make it so like you can take a video of it.
Yeah.
That's a lot of energy.
That's a manifestation right there, baby.
Yeah. Yeah. Like that is huge.
That
like
is when you pissed something off.
Right. And and so as you're reading it, because I didn't get an advanced copy of this, I'm hearing it as you're reading it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it occurred to me, when you go back to our religious show we did a few weeks ago, when we talked about Judaism and how their beliefs are, you know, your soul or whatever fractures into three pieces, and one of them stays with your body in the cemetery, which would explain why there's so many spirits in the cemetery.
Yep.
I'm wondering if maybe this spirit was him from the future. Like he's going to be buried in that cemetery when he eventually dies.
Two girls.
It was two girls?
Yeah, it was two girls.
Oh, well, same thing.
In the story. Yeah, right. I get it. I'm just letting you know it was two girls, teenagers.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay, yeah.
But that's an interesting theory, though, right? That would be her that would be her dug gravesite.
I don't want to say that was her dug gravesite. I just mean like in the future, that's the cemetery where
she's going to be buried.
She's laid to rest.
Well, wouldn't that be interesting though if that was her actual dug gravesite, and that's why she felt so sad and depressed and like felt miserable about that one particular spot, like that because that's her spot.
That would be sad, but
yeah.
I don't think they dig graves for living people.
No, I would say probably not.
So that dug grave was
going to be filled sometime.
Somebody had called dibs on it already. Yes. But I mean, it would explain why it felt the need to go and bang on the door. It could have even been her spirit from the cemetery, maybe trying to warn her. Something about something that they pissed off. Another spirit, obviously. There's so many different theories out there. But I mean, what throws me is the energy that would have had to have taken place in order to mimic her in such an exact way and have a video taken of it.
Yeah.
Like that means you're there for a long time. You're solid. You're banging on the door, which means, you're able to interact with this plane.
Yep.
That's like everything else is below that. Like knocking on the windows, I think is hilarious.
Oh yeah, fourth floor.
The fourth floor and just knocking on the window.
No trees. Yeah. And somebody's banging on your window. That is just payback right there. That's 100% pure payback.
Yes. Yes. That's absolute payback. That's meant to mess you up.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, as Dave said, this is the perfect story of be careful what you ask for, be careful what you do. I don't even think they asked for it. I mean, they were just making fun of it. But I mean, I guess in the intent thing of like, well, you were asking for it, type of thing that your parents tell you, like when you get socked in the mouth for making fun of, some other kid or whatever. I don't think they were literally asking for it, but they did enough to where they deserve what they got.
Here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that the innocence of, oh, we found some names and we made fun of them. I think it went a little further than that.
Probably.
I think that it turned into maybe kicking some stones over, or maybe something stupid like that, or making some really disrespectful comments, not just making fun of somebody's last name. Like I'm not seeing them skipping through the cemetery, seeing the name Samson and going, oh, Ramson, his name was Samson, like something like that. I'm seeing more like, I'm not even going to say it because it would be inappropriate. This is a family show, but where I'm headed,
Yep.
Is that it was more of a personal targeted derogatory type of thing. Because I'm with you, man. Like you really pissed something off to pull that much energy out, to have a mimic of you standing at your friend's house freaking the shit out of her.
Yep.
And they're not done with you yet. That's why you're getting knocking on the windows and you're seeing translucent figures, because they're still hanging around. They're still mad about something. Here's my best advice for something like that. And this is the advice I give everybody that's ever done anything asinine like this, right? Go back to the location that you were at and apologize. Mm-hmm. Go back to the location. Tell them you were sorry. I was stupid. I made a mistake. I thought it was funny at the time. I realize it's not funny. I'm asking for your forgiveness, please. And mean it. And
I think they mean it.
And you'll be surprised that you'll probably get confirmation that they accept your apology. Something will happen. But and that's what I tell everybody. If you do something like that and you anger spirits at a location and you're getting harassed, go back to the location and apologize. They were living people just like you at one time. Unless, of course, it's a demon, then you're screwed. But that's a whole nother show.
Yeah, and I really don't think
this is not a demon.
This is not a demon.
No. But what I'm saying is, if you do happen to piss off a demon, you're pretty much just effed. You don't get to go back to the location and apologize. Apology not accepted. Slash.
Yeah.
There goes 3 fingers down your spine.
But yeah, I completely agree. Go back and apologize.
Yep.
Maybe even bring a peace offering.
Yeah, not a bad idea. Bring some candy. That kid that Mike talked to, he loved the candy.
Candy
Bridge
or
in particular.
It was Bridge mix.
It was Bridge mix.
Yeah, strawberries. I mean, who knows? Maybe you pissed off an elemental. Maybe you pissed off a puck wedgie. Something that can take form or whatever.
Right.
Bring strawberries, almonds. Some sort of peace offering to them, and apologize. And I think as long as you're sincere, as Dave said, I think you'll be all right. Honestly, I think a lot of spirits in that way will mess with you or will come for just specifically for an apology. And that's all they want.
Mm-hmm.
I just want you to learn your lesson and not do it again and apologize for what you did. All right, Dave, moving on. Okay. Main topic today. Stupid paranormal theories.
I put crazy, just so you know. Mike is going with stupid. I'm going with kind of absurd or crazy.
Yeah. Not the same thing, because you can be, I guess they can be. There is a little section in there that could cross.
Oh, yeah.
But
there's a crossover effect. Absolutely.
Right. So here's what brought this on. And it almost goes for anybody who's listened recently. Dave, you weren't here for this episode, but Cena and I did an episode, and she brought up, maybe you've seen him, maybe you know about him, I don't know, called a grounding mat. And
I can envision what it is, yeah.
Right. So, but you're not envisioning the correct thing, I assure you, because I certainly didn't.
Okay.
So apparently, people are selling like mats or whatever that people can place on their beds, plug it into a wall, and it makes them more in tune with the earth.
Bullshit.
Exactly. And so I never heard of this thing. And all of a sudden, Cena mentioned it on one of the episodes, like maybe a month and a half ago. And I looked it up, and it is a real thing.
Is this like the anti-masturbation cross thing I sent you?
No, this is a real product.
Well, so is that.
Oh, well, still, no.
Okay, mean, so
it's close. Maybe we should have stupid paranormal,
stupid
products.
Stupid, yeah, not even paranormal, just stupid. If people saw what I'm talking about, you look it up. Oh my God. Anyway,
yeah.
So it's called a grounding mat.
The ground. Don't. I'm going to save you, Dave. Don't look it up.
Okay, sorry.
The only reason I say don't look it up is because when I made that error, now I see article or ads on Facebook.
Oh no, I don't want to do that.
Trying to sell me grounding mats.
No, you're right. I don't want to see that on my feed.
I mean, obviously you can get rid of them, but hit the X or whatever it is. But anyway, I lost it. I had to take a minute during the show and just be like, what? So that's not actually.
So somehow you plug so it's like a heating pad kind of concept, I guess, right? So like a heated blanket, you plug it into the wall, right? And then it generates some sort of field that sort of energy that puts you better in tune with the world.
I guess
like the energies of the world type of thing.
Yeah, all of the comments and stuff on are like, oh, I've never slept better. And I'm just like, you're not in tune with the earth, I assure you of that. Because I'm sure you were
whoever thought of that though and is selling them for like $99.99 is making a killing.
Oh, I'm sure they are. Especially since it probably literally is a heating pad.
That's what I'm thinking it kind of is. It's just eating bin. Yeah.
The eating bat.
Yeah. That's why
but
you're sleeping good, because you're warm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And relax. They're meant to relax your muscles and stuff.
Right.
But anyways, that is not actually. I'm just putting this into context for Dave. That's where it started, and for people who listen to the show, how strongly my reaction was to the actual reason for this. And so our new listener, handyman extraordinaire Jason, sent me this video in my text messages, and it was to a Facebook. Somebody posted it on Facebook, and the production of this video was amazing. I mean, if you remember it, Dave, because I sent it to you.
Yeah, I watched it. Yep.
They had simulations. They had CGI. I mean, they had.
They spent some time on it. Yeah.
It was masterfully done.
Yeah.
And the narrator is explaining this theory, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, this is the dumbest freaking thing I've ever seen in my life. And I said this to him as well. But the theory that this person was trying to explain and convince people of was that if you took a glass of water and you put salt in it, and then you had to tuck it like in a corner or somewhere where it wasn't going to be disturbed for 7 days. And if the water was cloudy or thicker or whatever he was trying, you have a negative entity in your house. Like, that was the whole point of this, was that you have to put salt water in a corner to not be disturbed. And then 7 days later, you'd figure out if you had negative energy or a negative entity in your house. And I'm like, that's absurd. That's ridiculous. And
yeah, because what is it doing? Is it trapping the entity in the salt water in the glass?
I don't know.
I mean, is that the concept of it? Right?
No.
Or right, that wouldn't be the concept. So, I mean, how in the hell would the water change?
I don't know. Apparently, the salt is going to react to the negative energy or the negative entity in your home, and it was going to swirl itself around the water.
Okay.
And I'm like, well, first, no, that's ridiculous. Second, even if you put it in a corner, like let's say you never go behind your lazy boy that's in the corner of your living room, and you place it down there, and nobody's going to disturb it, nobody's going to look at it or whatever, but the vibrations of everything that you do are, no matter where you put it in your house, the vibrations of you walking, even if you're not disturbing it, are going to shake it up.
I mean, unless you put it in an attic, or if you don't use your basement and you shove it in a basement corner. But then you've got environmental factors coming into play too.
Mm-hmm. You have dust.
Right. You've got dust, you've got, moisture, potential, insects or whatever. I don't know. That to me, that sounds like old
snake
something
oil
that you would have heard of in the 1800s of the traveling. Yeah, exactly. Snake oil salesman coming by and being like, you got a demon in your house. This is what you need to do. That'll be $20 gold piece. Thank you. And then go to your next one, and sell another glass of salt water. That to me, that's what it sounds like a snake oil salesman.
Yeah. And one that has a lot of time in his hands and good production value.
Yeah.
But the theory behind it is garbage. I mean, honestly, if you have to put salt in water and wait 7 days to figure out if you have a negative entity in your house, you don't have a negative entity in your house.
Yeah, I would say that's probably true.
And if you have negative energy in your house, just in general, you don't need salt water for 7 days sitting in a corner for you to tell you that. You're going to know. It's not like this is a I wonder type of thing.
Right.
Now, if you had a ghost in general that was neither bad nor good or whatever, you just wanted to know, that's still not going to do it. And for 7 days, I mean, honestly, you could hire a paranormal team to come in, do their investigation, get all their evidence, and reveal to you in the span of that 7 days. That would be able to tell you a hell of a lot more than a glass of salt water. So yeah, it was that right there was the inspiration for the show, because Dave and I talk all the time about reckless things that people say. When freaking Greg Newkirk was like, "Don't let anybody tell you that you shouldn't experiment. Go wild, dabble a bit." It's reckless to tell just the general populace to go ahead and just mess with the paranormal however they see fit. And so I wanted to do a show on just stupid theories that people are throwing out there. Whether they believe them or not, I don't really care. What the sources are, don't care. It's the fact that they're out there is enough for me. But I told mine, the original one. So you're up, Dave.
I don't really have a good one, so why don't you do 2 in a row while I'm still looking?
I thought you did like the top myths or whatever.
Well, I did,
But that doesn't fit.
Yeah, I mean it can, right? I mean, ghosts only come out at night, but that's more of a paranormal myth. That's not really
that's just wrong.
Well, that's just absolutely 100% incorrect, right? Spirits are around us all the time.
Yeah.
Same thing, and that goes hand in hand with only old buildings are haunted. That's a total myth. We've been to brand new house. We were at a house that wasn't even finished being built yet, and it was haunted. I mean, for crying out loud. So, that it can be a multitude of things. It could be the land itself, perfectly displayed in the movie Poltergeist, right? You built it on an ancient Indian burial ground. Right? Brand new neighborhood, brand new house. The powerful entities that were there did not like the fact that you built the house. It's the same thing with and I don't know if this is true or not, but when we were there, we had a very good discussion about it at West Virginia State Penitentiary when they were digging the foundation for it, and the largest mound in the world is directly across the street from it, from the Native American tribe, that parcel where the where the prison was built was also part of the burial ground. And when they dug up the remains of the Native Americans, they threw them into the grinder to mix into the mortar of the building. And that's why that place is so dark, because it has a curse on it. And I think that that's probably true. I mean, it made the top 10 list of the world's bloodiest prisons, and it is active as hell. So if you ever want to go someplace and want to have an experience, go there. Just remember what I've always said. Be careful what you wish for. So don't walk in there like, I want you to scratch my neck. Yeah. Don't do that. Yeah. This is the prison where they threw a man over the 3rd floor railing. He didn't die, and it just made him more angry. So they went down, got him, picked him back up, and carried him back up and threw him a second time.
I think they went up a floor higher though.
Yeah, that's the kind of people that were in there. And the guy who got it was because when he got released, there was this little old lady who lived across the street that made cookies and treats and would come and spend quality time with the inmates and just give them a little bit of support and love. And that's all she was doing. And the day the guy got released, he walked out of the prison, walked across the street, and killed her.
Maybe she didn't give him any love.
Don't know. All I'm saying is that it's not old buildings that are haunted. Paranormal things happen all the time.
Yes, they do. Okay, well, I'm going to come back over to our topic.
Yeah. I'm all over the place today.
I know. That's okay.
My first show back.
You're rusty. We get it.
I'm rusty.
So, I tried to do research on the internet. Like I went to Google and I typed in what I wanted to search for, and I really wasn't finding. I was finding what you were like myths, and stuff like that. I wasn't finding what I was looking for. So
no,
I was like, well, I'm doing this wrong because I'm looking for factual articles on things that are stupid. That's really I'm like, so I need to go where stupidity is saturated. It's a bomb. So I went to YouTube and I typed in stupid paranormal theories, and I got a slew of different videos, because that's where stupidity goes to thrive. Is TikTok and YouTube. And so I found a video taken from people were videoing them doing like a podcast, and I found one where this guy is talking about doppelgangers. And Dave and I have done a show on doppelgangers, before. I don't know if that's one of the ones we have to redo, but either way, we did one on doppelgangers. And this person was saying that the theory behind doppelgangers is that our doppelgangers, they look like us, they talk like us, they have all of our memories, and that the only reason that they exist is like their only main mission in existence is to hunt us down, kill us, and take our place.
I don't think they actually kill us. I think it's just part of the whole thing is that we die 7 days after seeing them. It's kind of like The Ring in that respect, right? Where she climbs out of your TV and
I know
7 days after you watch the video or whatever.
Right.
Is this episode 329?
Technically, yeah.
Because I just typed in YouTube and I put in absurd paranormal theories. And
our show came up.
It popped up right up at the top, but it says tonight's topic.
Yeah.
And we're daytime now. Yeah.
Whatever.
I do like the dunce cap in the corner, though.
I know you like that.
It's a nice touch. Yeah, I like
that. But yeah, I did too, because I was trying to find that one that I had forgotten, because there was another one that I had found, not on doppelgangers, but on something else, and I was trying to find it, and I typed in stupid paranormal theories or whatever, and our show came up number 2, which is very upsetting to me. That's all right. But anyway, so apparently the theory is that, like if somebody suddenly changes course, like they're really, really mean and then they get really, really nice, or like Scrooge McDuck, not Scrooge McDuck, Scrooge.
I was going to say,
what the hell is
wrong with Scrooge McDuck?
Nothing is wrong with Scrooge McDuck.
Wow, I was going to say, man, way to be picking on the rich guy with the swimming pool full of gold coins.
Just Scrooge. Ebenezer Scrooge.
Ebenezer Scrooge.
There we go. Obviously he had the 3 spirits, but if somebody were to make that type of change where they're rich and they're an old geezer and miser and stuff like that, and all of a sudden they're generous and nice and giving away everything, the theory could be that the doppelganger got a hold of him, killed him, and took his place. And I'm just like, no, just no. I mean, a lot of people, as anybody, like, is there any claim whatsoever to a person who was like, my friend died and he saw his doppelganger a week ago? Like, has anybody ever made that claim?
Not that I have ever met, or any legitimate, like, I've never heard a legitimate claim that I looked into and found evidence of, like, the person being replaced.
Yeah. Because, and honestly, how many people have actually seen their doppelganger? because almost all the stories or whatever is they heard from a friend that the friend saw them someplace that they weren't. Like it's always been a
I told you that my kids saw me at the state fair and I wasn't there.
Right.
Yeah, they ran right up to the guy and they're like, "Dad, you said you weren't coming this year."
And what, do you just disappear or what?
No, he just looked at him strange and like, "What the hell are you two idiots talking about?" and walked away. And so I mean,
well,
yeah,
obviously,
and I was not there. So
I mean, obviously, even doppelgangers like the state fair. So he was probably getting some cheese curds before he takes your place.
I was just gonna say, cheese curds. I met a guy, doesn't know what a cheese curd is.
You didn't meet a guy. You met somebody from 1800s.
No. One of my clients at work. We were talking about stuff, and I was like, "Yeah, well, if you're rolling through, they're going to be rolling through Wisconsin this year on a Michigan and Wisconsin on like a little road trip, and they're going to stop and visit a bunch of places." I said, "Well, make sure you hit Ellsworth and pick up some cheese curds while you're in town." Since he's like, "What the hell's a cheese curd?" So we had a long conversation about cheese curds. He's from Pennsylvania. You would think he would know what a cheese curd is.
Some people just don't know how to live.
I told him that. We had a long discussion on cheese curds and how he needs to stop in Ellsworth.
I'm sure he could probably order them.
I'm sure he probably can. That's what he asked me. Well, I don't know that I'm going to go to Ellsworth. Can I order them? Yes. As a matter of fact, I'll send some to you.
Great. Now I'm going to get an email from Stour being like, "Our new cheese curds."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, look what we've got. A new cheese curd fryer.
So anyway, that theory specifically, doppelgangers I do believe exist, but not for that purpose. Like I think that is just a ridiculous overreaction or analyzation of what a doppelganger is.
I would agree. The whole concept of doppelgangers to me sounds like somebody's premise for a movie. Like,
well, it's kind of like Time Cop. That's like the whole premise of Time Cop is you can't be in the same. You can't touch your doppelganger.
Right. Yeah. Right. You can't be in the same time frame or same exact place at the same exact time. But if you take a look at all of the topics that we've talked about and how Cena has said many times that the past, present, and future are all happening simultaneously, and we're living out multiple existences simultaneously, then wouldn't the doppelganger simply be you in a time slip situation? It's not an evil entity coming to kill you. It's just you being at a location in 2023 and 2026, hypothetically, at the same time. And you just happen to see yourself. And then you're like freaked out. And then yourself for 2023 sees you in 2026 and is also freaked out. Right? Like I totally think that the whole thing is not just a one-way street. I think that it's, when you see something in a time slip situation, that thing sees you too. So I don't know. I think that's a possibility. I think if that really is what's happening, if our existence really is an onion slice, right? And it's all just, an infinite number of existences all happening all at the same time, then it would make sense to me that there'd be some crossover at some point.
Nice special effects.
Did you like that with the slice? Well, I did that for the benefit of the people who aren't watching our lovely faces this morning and are going to be listening to it later. Yeah.
Right. I get you. Yeah. And that actually can go hand in hand with one of the theories that I have personally.
Yeah, let's hear your personal theory.
No. I don't want to do that right now.
Oh, Okay.
We'll do that last.
Okay.
Did you want to throw another one, or do you want me to?
Well, here's what I'm going to do. So this is paranormal events with logical explanations. I just happen to be kind of searching around. So personal encounters with ghosts. Many people confidently recount personal encounters with ghosts, seemingly providing compelling firsthand evidence of the paranormal. However, studies show that a huge majority of these ghost sightings result from misperceptions, illusions, and hoaxes rather than actual spirit contact. Shadows, reflections, and pareidolia often mistakenly trigger perceptions of ghostly figures. Carbon monoxide leaks and emotional states like anxiety or grief can produce hallucinations interpreted as spiritual encounters. Memories are inherently fallible and susceptible to confabulation. This person liked to look through the dictionary before they wrote this. Distorting recollections of anomalous experiences over time. For ghost stories to be credible, independent corroboration and rigorous testing are essential, but most rely solely on anecdotal accounts from individuals whose senses and memories failed where logic should have prevailed. I can tell you right now, I don't like this person, whoever wrote this. So, I know that this isn't kind of what our exact topic is, but for somebody, I think it's probably more. What's the right word here? For somebody to have an experience, I'll use my mom, right? Room temperature changed, goosebumps, and I smelled her, and I knew she was right there. For somebody to say that that didn't happen because my mind was in a state of grief, I know the human mind's powerful, but it's not that powerful, and I wasn't thinking about her at the time. And for somebody to just dismiss something because they've never experienced it, or they don't understand it, or they're scared of it, is not, it doesn't make the paranormal non-scientific or the fact that it exists. That's just somebody's opinion of, because they don't understand, or they were brought up with a scientific mind, and every time they thought something paranormal happened, their dad beat them. And so they were conditioned like Pavlov's dog. There's nothing paranormal. Stop doing that. You don't get punished. Go sit in the corner. So I don't. I think that we've said this a million times before too. I think that somewhere in here we're going to have to find common ground between the scientific community and the paranormal community, and because it's the same thing with sleep paralysis. It's not all medical, and it's not all demonic, or the old hag, right? It's not all one and it's not all the other. It's a blend, right? Some of it probably is mental health. Some of it is stress. It was like one of the stories that we got in was talking about people screaming in their face while they're sleeping, and then waking up because they heard somebody scream right in their face, right? I don't think that that's a paranormal event. I think that that's a dream state when you're just coming out of a dream state, because that's happened to me countless times where I'll hear David, and then I'll wake up and I'll look around and there's absolutely nothing happening, right? It's just, although, didn't you have something happen to you where somebody like called your name? And I know there's been instances where people have been woken up like as a protective measure, like, hey, wake up because there's a fire in the garage or something like that, but I'm rambling.
Yep.
So a pass. Oh my God, I just cannot focus today.
It's all right. It's early. You're not used to it.
No, I know, it's been a while. I'll be back on my game next week.
Okay.
This topic had me confused from the beginning anyway, but I rolled with it.
Could have just asked.
That's okay. That's all right. I'm doing my best.
All right. So here's a theory that I have. This is mine.
Okay. Personal one?
This is the personal theory of mine that I have begun to suspect is the case over the last few weeks.
Okay. Oh, last few weeks.
And please note that this is supposed to be stupid. I'm well aware of it.
Yeah.
So do not think that I'm literally trying to convince you of this, but the evidence is out there. So here we go. So hear me out. We both know, and we've talked. I don't know if we so much have talked about it, but I know Cena and I have talked about it. Sometimes when she goes off on her tangents, she brings it up, and that is the theory of the two Earths, that the Earth is splitting, and the people of high vibration are going to be on the new Earth, and the people of low vibration are staying here. But that's a stupid theory in and of itself. I'm sorry. I don't like it. I hate it. I think it's stupid, especially when like the people who are trying to defend it are like, oh, it's happening right now. It's happening right here, right where you are. You're like, you're already on the new Earth. No, we're not. It's just no. But I have begun to see signs that not only is that it's happening around the Twin Cities, and I think that the place for it is where it's happening is Planet Fitness. So here's my evidence. I've begun to see signs that say best deal on the planet, and it's for Planet Fitness. And I'm seeing that Planet Fitness is starting to expand wildly. So of course, we're looking at more exposure, more influence. Like the forming of a new Earth, we have a forming of a bigger corporation. But then I saw a different sign for Planet Fitness that said, we're stronger here on this planet. What are you talking about? Do we have two planets now? Because that's the theory.
Mm-hmm.
And Dolores Cannon, who is the one that kind of brought up this whole two Earth thing. I always made fun of her to Cena because she was talking about how you need to eat a lot of more fruits and vegetables. You need to drink a lot of water. You need to cut out like the meats and the sugars and the fats or whatever, because you can't have that high density weighing you down. So pretty much she's saying that the new Earth takes no fatties. So
that sounds like a prejudiced comment to me.
Exactly. Exactly. You can't weigh a lot and go to the new Earth. So am I. And so where better to get ready for the new Earth than Planet Fitness? So I'm saying, look it up, people. I'm thinking that Planet Fitness is where the new Earth is forming, and they're trying to get everybody in with cheap deals to make people way less so they can go and be part of the new Earth.
I'm not going to discount that, because it's the first time I've ever heard of it. I don't understand the
two Earths. You've never heard that before?
No. I've heard the two Earth theory, not the Planet Fitness theory.
Oh, well, I just said the Planet Fitness theory for the first time ever, like a couple seconds ago. So,
right. Of course, so I mean, that's what I'm saying. I never heard that, but your concept of what did you say again? That like the new planet, like it said that get in shape for the new planet or something, or healthier than the new planet.
Yeah, I said
what was the exact quote?
We need to, oh, I said no fatties.
No. Before that.
So we have to drink a lot of water, drink more fruit.
No, before that. It was a quote you said that you saw like on a billboard or something directly from Planet Fitness.
We're stronger on this planet.
There you go. We're stronger on this planet. As opposed to what planet?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I think it's totally derogatory to say that if you're not, 6'5", 128 pounds, that you don't get to go to the new Earth.
I don't know the exact fitness measurements that you're required to have to go to the new Earth.
Yeah. I thought it was all about vibrational level. When did body weight come into play?
Well, I don't know. But according to Dolores Cannon, you need to drink more water, you need to eat more fruits and vegetables, and you can't weigh a lot. So no fatties on the new planet.
Okay.
Because maybe fat equals low vibration. I don't know.
Well,
I think I have pretty high vibration.
I have pretty high vibration.
So it's like the Force. You can't
right.
You can't judge it by its size.
No, I mean, Christ, Yoda was kicking everybody's ass,
as he should.
Right.
So all I'm saying is if you're in this area or you have Planet Fitnesses in your area, watch what they're doing and what they say. Because the signs are there, my friend, in billboard form, but they're there.
Oh, totally in billboard form. I see them every day.
Exactly. They're like the new Crystalline doll.
Yeah. Yes. So it's a $1 down, $15 a month. Quit anytime you want was the billboard I just saw.
And a bunch of them are 24 hours a day. Like
and if you're a fitness place, why would you put on your billboard quit anytime you want? Because isn't the whole concept to encourage people like in a positive way to become a member and stay a member? Like, why would you put on a billboard quit anytime you want for that'd be like like a dietitian putting up a billboard with cupcakes on it.
Anytime you want one, you just have to say the word.
Day. Yeah, exactly. Go to Gloria's Bakery on your cheat day and score a dozen of these. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, anyway. So that's my personal stupid theory.
And how did Cena tie into this? Just the two Earth theory.
Just the two Earth theory, yeah.
Okay.
Because you and I have really never talked about it, but her and I have.
Yeah.
On the show.
Yeah.
So yeah. So there you go.
Well, the two Earth theory, and we've talked about it in the past. I don't know, probably not on the show, but it came up when we were talking about like good and evil and high vibration and low vibration. And that was going to be the split, that people were with a higher vibration level were going to evolve forward into this new Earth, and the people with lower vibrational levels, and again, this goes back to angels and demons. Angels have a high vibration level, demons don't. So if you had a low vibration level, you were staying here with the demon population. And then if you were of a higher vibrational level, you were going with the angels, which again is just stealing a concept of rapture. Because that's pretty much, rapture is, if you've accepted Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior on the day of judgment, you just won't be here anymore. Like you're going to go on to the next place. it's not exactly the same thing. You're just changing a couple words out. So instead of believing and accepting Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, now we're saying if it's a vibrational level, that now if your vibration level is high enough, that you get to move on to this new, better world. My question is, what's better about it? Is there going to be no sickness, no famine, no poverty, no health issues, no grief, no sadness, right? No remorse. Everybody's going to love everybody. Sounds like a commune. Sounds like the beginning of a cult.
Well, it sounds like heaven is what it sounds like.
Well, it would, right. I mean, if you believe in God, absolutely it does. But if you don't believe in God, it sounds like a cult or a commune. So I believe in God. I know what it sounds like for me. I'm just saying for other people that are wondering about it, that haven't, that don't believe in God or whatever, or don't have a strong Christian faith.
I do not know the answers to those.
No, well, none of us do. I'm just saying it seems to me like they just switched a couple words out and then created a new theory. It's kind of like the flat earth theory, because you can see a horizon and therefore that's where the end of the planet is, and if that were the case, then we wouldn't be able to travel to China.
I actually I don't want to get into the flat earth, because I think the flat earth theory, and now like I saw something now, there's another theory like the football theory or something like Earth is shaped like a football. I can't even remember exactly what the stupid shape was this time, but I think that's a show in it of itself.
Oh, I think so too.
But
yeah, I want to, and as a matter of fact, when I was looking around today at different stuff, I'd like to do a show this year on like the Amityville horror, and kind of I'm of the belief that it was not a hoax.
Yeah, but
I don't think it was a hoax.
We've talked about the Amityville horror, especially when
but I don't know if we've done a whole show on it, is what I'm saying.
No, but we dedicated a good portion of it when we did our Ed and Lorraine Warren show.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
So anyway,
yeah,
not working on our schedule.
No, right. Yeah, no.
Do you have any other?
No, I have nothing.
Okay. Well, here is a theory. I don't know if it's out there or not. I can't imagine I'm the first one to think something like this. And this is not supposed to be a stupid theory like the Planet Fitness theory was, but it could be. I don't know. But let's see what you think about this.
Okay.
Because I don't know, maybe I've been influenced by Star Trek, but
you have been influenced by Star Trek.
Well, I definitely have been influenced by Star Trek, but I mean in this particular instance.
Oh, okay.
In general, absolutely, because I love Star
Trek. I was going to say, yeah, you have. I know that for a fact.
So there's a lot of things that are part of the paranormal that we don't understand, like aporting, stuff like that. A lot of the claims that people have are things moving, or they should be on the counter, but now they're on the table, or they were on the counter, now they're not on the counter, and a couple minutes later they're back on the counter. Uh-huh. And I've been a big proponent that there's some sort of, I don't know if it's a gravitational thing. I don't know if it's a positioning of the Earth to other whatever you want to call it. But I definitely think there's some sort of moving, like interdimensional door. Like it's just never in the same place. Like the hikers that just go missing. They just vanish.
Right.
Even though there's people around them.
Right. Like the Mount Shasta.
Exactly.
The guy hiking with his buddy, talking. All of a sudden, his buddy's not responding. Turns around, he's no longer there.
Yeah, exactly.
Just vanished.
And we have a lot of a lot of those claims, and
Mm-hmm.
they're not just on Mount Shasta, and that's it. Like they're
Oh no,
all
no,
over.
no, no. They're all over the world. Yeah.
They're all over the world.
Yeah.
And it's not just that, but I'm wondering if some of these paranormal, not all, but some, especially when it comes to like object movement and stuff like that, if we are not in some sort of interdimensional flux, and that when people put their keys down on the counter and then walk away or they turn their back and get something out of the fridge and they turn around, the keys aren't there. I'm wondering if the keys didn't necessarily get moved by a spirit. I'm wondering if they're in some sort of alternate uh like reality where the keys were never placed there to begin with. And uh, where subtle things have changed. And this is another parallel universe that we're in. And because I mean, I've noticed a lot of like just different things. And I'm wondering if it's something where it's oops, drop my thing. um if it's like me shifting into such a different reality where like one little minuscule thing had been changed but nothing else, and so I noticed that one thing but everything else is the exact same, so I chalk it up to maybe I forgot or maybe I did this or whatever, and maybe we are then pulled back into that's why the keys are back a little bit later. uh so I don't know, I wanted to throw that out there, get your take. I don't know if I'm explaining it as well as out loud as I have it in my head, but um, I think it might be it would also explain doppelgangers. I mean, who
Mm-hmm.
knows? Maybe your kids did see you there,
Right.
but maybe obviously it wasn't you. Maybe it was another you from another reality got shifted into this one,
Right.
and you were enjoying the state fair. I mean, I'm not saying like anything is malevolent or it's like
Oh
it's
no,
got
no, no. Right.
some sort
Yeah.
of negative, negative mission. I'm just wondering if, especially if we're talking about like two Earths and it's separating or whatever, I would assume that that's got to throw balance all off. Like that's just got to mess everything up.
I would agree because ultimately there has to be some type of boundary. You know what I'm saying? There has to be some outer perimeter where it can't go beyond that. Otherwise, we would all just be atomized. Right. I mean, so there's something like we call it gravity here. Right. So there's something holding us, like keeping us compressed in.
Well, that's just keeping our physical being here. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, though. Just let me run with it.
Sure.
So with that in mind, right, is the idea of your keys going missing, are they really missing? Or are they really still there, but you're not reaching for them because you don't see them anymore? So what if you put them down, they're not there, but you put them there, and you reach down and you feel them, but you can't see them? Like when we did the investigation with the creepy dad when Brian got jumped, I know for a fact that I took my recorder and put it in the front hallway where they said that they heard the piano playing and the little girl talking. I know I did. I walked right up, I turned it on, I put it right there. Brian and the lady were in the living room. I think Steve was downstairs by himself, wandering around in a daze. I have no idea where you were and I was sitting on the couch talking about watching television. So whatever was there had us all over the place. It was distracting us in its own, however it decided it needed to distract us, except for you for some reason. You were on it. And
I was just confused. I mean, I was new to it, but I was like,
which is probably why, right? Exactly. Which it was. I don't know what the hell was going on at that house, but anyway. So I know I put it there. When I walked back, it was nowhere to be found at all. At the end of the night, I walked back and said, "Well, I don't know who grabbed my recorder, but it'll show up in when we put our gear back together." And I walked back, and it was sitting there again. So, did it leave? Or was it sitting there the whole time and something blocked me from seeing it?
Or, I mean, and I'm just going to bring it back to my theory because
yeah, go ahead.
But maybe because you were so close to what would be considered an alternate, not so much an alternate reality, but I mean, we're talking about the other side of the curtain. So it's something that is not of this plane.
Right.
Maybe shifted you or even that recorder to the point where it was never set down to begin with. I mean, you probably never checked your equipment bag again to see if maybe you ever took it. Maybe it just reappeared right back in your equipment bag because you never took it out to begin with. And
that's
then
another possibility, right? So something at that house made me think that I did that action. For some reason, my mind thinks I did it, but I never did it.
I would see. Here's the thing that I don't want to say is troubling, but I mean it's something else to consider. Is if you shift, if I'm in reality A, and in reality A, I put that recorder down on the table.
Yep.
And then something happens and I shift to reality B where I never put down the recorder, but I am from reality A. I would remember that I put it down there, but it's not physically there in B because whoever that person was never put it. The you from that reality never put it down.
Never did that action.
But because you're not from that specific reality, you would still remember what you did in reality A. Because you were the one that did it.
Okay.
Which is why it's so flabbergasting that your recorder's not there anymore.
Right. So let me ask you this. So if I'm in A and somehow I shift to B, then does B shift to C?
I don't know.
And C go to D? I mean, do we push each other up one run?
See,
as we bounce?
And that's like again, it's a part.
Because otherwise, why wasn't I standing in the room looking at myself? Kind of, I would make sense that I'd be in the room looking at myself, or that I would see similar people in a similar investigation situation, but something I'd be able to tell something was off. Something would be different.
And that's part of the theory. I don't really know. I have had multiple prophetic dreams, all the time. I think I just got to the point where I had one. I didn't have one, but I got to what I had dreaming about, like last night, because I had another one of those like deja vu moments.
Yeah,
where you're like, this seems oddly familiar, yet I've never done this before.
Yeah.
I think I dreamed it like a year or so ago, or whatever, however long it was. Mine are a long freaking time. I don't even know what it is, but like they go years before they actually happen.
Yeah, mine do too.
But I always see them. I think I always see them. But those type of dreams, I always see them through my eyes, as if I'm the one that's living it, instead of like the fly on the wall, or you're watching a movie or that sort of thing.
Right.
And anytime that sort of thing happens, I always get this weird feeling. Like, like your head clouds over, or you get that tingling or whatever. And all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute.
It's like the butterfly effect.
Yeah, maybe.
Right. I get it too.
And that's what tips me off the point of like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I've done this before. Like, this is going to happen,
Yep.
even though it doesn't, because the other people's lives. But I'm wondering if the feeling that I have when that takes place is me coming in from the past to dream what I'm seeing. And that's me recognizing the other me. And then obviously it goes away when I wake up or whatever back in the past. But I'm almost wondering if we take over the person that is in that reality. Where they go, I have no flipping idea. I don't know who takes us over. That's far beyond my capabilities of when I'm just driving down the road thinking to myself.
So you're kind of saying that we're jumping ourselves?
Yes.
Okay.
And we don't seem to ever be there long.
No, right, we're not.
I think the timing varies, but because there's people that will go days without seeing like their keys will only show up like 2 days later, and sometimes it's a couple hours.
Right.
So I don't know. That's why it's a theory and not a postulate.
Right. And I think, and so, so we're on this topic. I think that's different than when you put your keys down. We're a creature of habit, right? And I'm going to say this about men. Men are a creature of habit. We put our shit down in the same exact place all the time. I'm not going to speak for women because I think women, at least it used to be, right? They used to have them gigantic purses. They could never find anything anyway. And then there was like 5 years worth of receipts in there, kind of like a guy's wallet. So, but for men, we're a creature of habit. So we put our keys down the exact same place every time. If that's the case and you're putting something down and it's not there then visually to you, but then it shows up a day later, 6 hours later, whatever, they're there, exact same spot they always were, versus you put your keys down and then you go to throw a couple leftover pieces of pizza in the microwave later that night and your keys are in the microwave. Now that is totally different than this kind of time slip thing that we're talking about. That is more of a something in your house that is kind of playing games with you. Where it's taking your stuff and hiding it.
That could definitely be something that's considered a-boarding. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that the whole concept of, and now see, I've never even given thought to that. So I think it's interesting that we would jump ourselves. So then I wonder,
which we don't have time to discuss.
No, I know it's 11:59, but it's a good topic for a lot down the road. So then I wonder, like, if future selves, so like if slice D, if I'm slice A, David, and slice D, David, for some reason jumps me, does it leave any type of effect on people around me if I'm interacting with someone? I mean, would somebody say to me, boy, you seemed out of sorts the other night? That conversation was weird. You usually don't talk about stuff like that, which I don't think anybody would ever say that to me personally, because I talk about anything and everything. So that wouldn't be a good, or I offered you a beer and you declined, right? That would be more.
That would definitely not be you.
Me. That would not be me, right? Exactly. So I thought that was really weird because I thought that was your favorite beer. So, something like that. So do we get jumped for like, or can F go to A? Can Z go to C? Or is there some sort of law that we can only go up? So A jumps to B and then jumps back to A. B jumps to C, jumps back to B.
I'm going to need several more line hauls to figure that out, Dave.
Okay. Well, now we're on something I'm interested in.
Well, you're welcome.
Right at the end of the show. Yeah.
So, but I'm sure that if we want to, we'll bring it back. If anybody wants to share their theory on it, you can obviously go to odysseypals radio.com and send us a message about, and let us know what you think. I mean, this is a theory that obviously I created, I think. And also let me know what you think about the Planet Fitness theory too. I love support.
Yeah.
I love support.
Absolutely.
But anyway, we'll be back next week with another brand new episode, hopefully. Yeah, till then, stay healthy, stay safe. We want to see you back here. Everyone have a great rest of your weekend.